Hi, everyone. Welcome to ABC Weddings Unveiled. This is a really special time because it's the first time we've done a live podcast filming here at ABC. So I just wanted to welcome everyone. We're going to give people a few more minutes before we officially start with our special guest, Casey Pittman. So we'll see you in just a few more seconds. Okay. Welcome to this live filming of ABC Weddings Unveiled. If you're joining us midday, If you're joining us midday, we're about to wake up your brain in the best way possible. Before we jump in, where are you joining from today? Put your city and state in the chat. All right, Olenthia. Hi, Olenthia from Maryland. Thelma from Orlando. Tiana from New York City. You guys sound pretty cool. But okay, no matter where you are, you're going to gain some wisdom today that you can use anywhere in the world. Now, today's special guest is someone who did something we're all a little nervous to do the first time. She booked her first Sandals group contract. She lived through the chaos, came out with some money in her pocket. Now, I like to say I was baptized in fire with group contracts, and it certainly felt that way. But today, Casey Pittman, PWP, is here to pull back the curtain on what it looks like to go from, I think I can do this, to, oh, wow, I'm like actually doing this. So I'm going to welcome to the stage, Casey Pittman.
Hello.
Ooh, oh, we're
I'm like right here.
yeah. Welcome, Casey. Casey and I have been friends for a while. We met at ABC Annual Conference. Who knows how many years ago?
2016.
Oh, okay. Hey, that I've actually known you longer than I've known my husband.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we jump right into the group contracts and logistics, I just want everyone to understand your context a little better.
Yeah.
Like where are you in your business right now?
Yeah. So right now I do wedding and event planning and then travel. So, doing that full time, having a lot of fun with it and constantly learning every day.
Yeah. So, you started as a wedding planner. Are you full-time, part-time?
Yeah, so I started part-time and I was working at a law firm full-time and just decided, this was something that I had always like dreamed about doing. You see the movies when you're growing up of being a wedding planner and you're like, oh my gosh, what a dream. So of course it was something that I always wanted to do. And then I finally just decided one day, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I started part-time and did that for a while. And then in 2021, I took a leap of faith and I left my full-time job and I became full-time with wedding and event planning. And then I also do real estate on the side. So two jobs that allow me to have a very great, like flexible schedule and do everything as I need to do. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure we can all relate. Like how many people saw J-Lo from the wedding plan and were like,
that's right.
Yeah, like what did she have? That little like tool belt thing?
Yes, I know. I still think like I had to get one of those.
Yeah. She was like spritzing Evian in someone's face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's great. Yeah. And so now that you've, like dove right in and you've added travel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I added travel. I went back and looked and it was 2017 was when I booked my very first travel, which was with Sandals and Beaches. So I remember coming to conference for the first time in 2016, and then they were talking about, travel. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine doing all of that. And then, I kept hearing everyone talking about it and I was like, okay, maybe I'll just dabble in that just a little bit and see, maybe I can plan something for my husband and I. And then it ended up being my sister reached out and was like, hey, I would love to book Sandals if you do that. And I was like, of course I do. And then I was very quickly trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we can all relate. It's like yes, I do that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now I actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've heard a little bit about where Casey is in her business. Let's look at the chat. Where are you in your business? Are you guys planners, part-time, full-time? Have you added travel? The answer should be yes. If it isn't, why or why not?
Yes.
Let us know.
Yeah.
I will fill you guys in on a little secret to our audience. The sound effects personnel is none other than our president, Veronica Foster. Yeah, okay, so let's see here. Tiana, I'm a full-time wedding planner specializing in cruise and destination weddings. That's amazing. It's near and dear to my heart. I love you. Cruises scare me still a little bit. What about you? Casey, do you book cruises or
no, so funny enough, my friends and I, we all went on a cruise last summer to Bermuda. And I told Nicole, I'm like, I know that I can book cruises, but I also know that I don't know anything about booking cruises. So can you please just book this for me? So Nicole booked my friends and I's cruises. But now I've been doing a lot more research and trying to get a little bit more familiar. But I mean, cruises are just a whole different, kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I mean, even I'm kind of scared to book cruises. And now you can be scared with me and book your own cruises.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys book cruises, like there's 1,000 different little decisions. Like, okay, do you want to face port or starboard? Or like, what deck do you want to be on? And it's what time do you want to seat for dinner? And all these things that I'm sure it's a big learning curve, and bless us and ABC, the people who specialize in that, because
Goodness.
hey, that's brutal sometimes. Okay, Lois Pierce, business consultant with a desire to do group travel. Well, Lois, you're in the exact right place to do group travel. And might I add, it does leave a pretty penny in your pocket. I'm sure Casey will agree.
Yeah.
I think we had that conversation, right? It's okay, Casey, like now that you finished, was it worth it?
Yeah. When the check came in the mail, it definitely made it worth it for sure.
Yeah. See, it's worth it in the end. You get some gray hair, but
yeah. Yeah. I'm noticing that more and more every day.
Yeah. Don't zoom in. This is not high def filming, everyone. But yeah, so I think we can all relate. Everyone here is in a different chapter of the same book. We're kind of looking at where we are, where we want to go, how we get there, and if it's worth it to us, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, most people don't enter the destination wedding market per se with it perfectly mapped out. Kind of like you said, it's yes, I can do that. Okay, now I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And here's how we do it.
Yeah.
I think in general, it really starts with that one real first client, right? And that one conversation that's like, hey, you're my first client. Let's go on this journey together.
Yeah.
Now, Casey, how did you get your first group contract client?
Yeah. So, first group contract. So just to back up a tiny bit, I did a Sandals wedding for my sister, and it was just her and her husband, and they went, and so I got a little bit of insight into what a wedding would be like with Sandals. And then I've done a few other of those where it's just the couple and they go. So like the wedding process was a little bit familiar. But then my brother-in-law and his future wife reached out and said, they were considering doing a destination wedding. They weren't sure where they wanted to go. They were still thinking maybe within the United States or possibly doing something like on a beach. And so we presented a lot of options. We went through a lot of things. And then ultimately they sat on a call with Wendy White, who did the weddings webinar.
Yeah.
Where, she just kind of talked about everything that happens at beaches and Sandals for a wedding. And so after that call, they pretty much came right back and said, we want to do beaches. And so we're ready to go that route. So, that is how.
How does that feel when you're like, they're like, yes.
Yeah. I was like,
terrified, scared.
Okay. I was very excited for them because I know the product of Sandals and Beaches, and having been there several times, having sent a lot of clients there, I wasn't worried about them loving it or not. I knew they were going to love it, but it was oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like, what's the next step? Because this is a group and I've never done a group. So, it was nerve-wracking, but exciting.
Yeah, it's like the thrill of it, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they said yes. You're nervously excited.
Yeah.
What did you do next? Like, walk us through the steps that you actually took to go from, oh yeah, I have a client, to like, okay, like now we have the contract.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing I did is I freaked out and I called Nicole. And I said, oh my God, what am I doing? And then she just kind of laughed and she's like, you've got this, and kind of reminded me that it's very different, but it's also very similar. So, I took a deep breath, and then she was like, okay, this is what you need to do. Just start gathering all your documentation. So they've decided they want to do it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to reach out to your BDM, and then we need to fill out the form. So that way we can send that in to, they had decided they wanted to do beaches because there were going to be a few kids and they didn't want to leave the kids out. So I reached out to beaches and said, I have a client interested in like this time frame. What do you have available? We want a minimum of 10 rooms because that makes it the group contract. So we want those 10 rooms. What do you have available? What dates? And these are the 2 resorts that they're thinking of. And then they got back to me and said, these are the 2 options that we have with the ability to host those 10 rooms. And then I was able to present that to the client, and then they thought about it, figured out what they wanted to do. And then we moved forward with getting the contract put together and then getting that signed. Yes. Yeah.
Like, so, okay. And would you say up until then, like how long did that take? Was it like days, weeks?
Yeah. Weeks? So it was probably, I would say 2 weeks.
Okay.
Partially because I was still learning and figuring everything out. And so it's not like you can just jump on the portal and book everything. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, here you go, you're set. It's a lot of communication with the resort, and everything has to be done via email. So you're sending them things. You may have a few questions. They respond back because there's also a time zone difference. So you're working on different time zones. Then they would respond back. And then by time I would present that then to my client, then they would decide, and then it's moving forward. So there's a lot of back and forth in the beginning, just getting it all set up and getting all the, T's crossed and I's dotted. But you have to have a little bit of patience in getting that contract. So that way you're not trying to rush something and giving everyone time to get everything put together correctly.
Awesome. Yeah. It's okay, how many people here have heard about group contracts and you're like, okay, well, I'm terrified. So like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Has now done it and is now like completely confident in doing it. She could do it 100 more times. Yeah. So it's, it's intimidating, I would say, just to get it started, but you got it started. And then, after those initial conversations, what happened?
So after that, it became, okay, now I need to get all of my kind of like processes started. So we've got the group contract, it's signed. So now what do I do? Well, I'm going to need to set up a link or something for guests to even see all of the information. So I went onto my website and I created a, private like landing page, and I put all of the couple's information. I put like a cute little graphic of, beaches, Negril, and put the information, date, time, location. In the contract, then it has the different room categories that we've reserved. So I put those room categories on the website so they could see them. I put terms and conditions, the cancellation dates, the all of the timeline of the different dates that they would need to know, and when they needed to book by, when payments were due, all of that. And then at the bottom, I put a link. And that was the interest form. So if they were interested in getting a quote to attend this wedding, they would click on the link. They would then input all of their information, as well as like the room category they were interested in. If they were interested in purchasing travel protection, I decided not to do flights for my clients because that was just a little much. And honestly, I feel like for me, I would rather give that control back to the clients. If there's an issue with the flight, then they can handle that immediately at the airport and take care of those problems, rather than, if I'm in Jamaica and, there's just a lot more things that can happen. So I like to leave my clients with the ability to make all of that themselves. But so yeah, just getting all of that set up. So when we did start having people submit their interest, then I was ready to go.
So it's kind of like at the beginning, you were like kind of in a sales role, right? You're like, okay, hey, this is Sandals. Look at all the stuff. Like, look at the packages and the stuff you get, and you get like a discount and, promo credits and all that. And then as soon as you actually made the contract, you kind of shifted to like managing in a different way. So like you're not really like selling the client on it. You're selling like all of their guests to this room or that room. And then, hey, like, don't forget, it's non-refundable, get insurance, stuff like that.
Yes.
But so when you're kind of in like the meat and potatoes of this, of the group contract, what were some things that you noticed that about like the payment deadlines and the cancellation deadlines and those things? Because I will say that Sandals, love them, super biased. It's kind of like you have to read every line by line, right?
Yes. So the one thing that I knew I had to do was I had to pad the dates a little bit, because if you give someone right up until the actual deadline, then you're going to be really frantic in getting things done. So I did pad my deadlines a little bit. But when reading through that contract, there's different dates. And so you have dates that, they have to cancel by, then you have dates they have to pay by, but then, you also, they have the specific dates in there, but then in the like terms and conditions, it also says, it might have to be like 45 days before. So then you're calculating from that date backwards. And sometimes those dates don't align. So I had kind of like a master sheet of all of the different deadlines. And then I took those and then gave like a month or 3 weeks, whichever, of padding. So that way, if those deadlines for the clients, they hadn't gotten back to me, I still had some time to follow up with them, do what I needed to do before that deadline was missed. And it affected, my clients or their trip.
Okay, let's play a little game. I like games with the chat. So, okay, we're talking about padding deadlines.
Yeah.
So if you had a client and like let's say their deposits are due by, I don't know, let's say like December 1st.
Yeah.
So I'm going to poll the audience and then hold your answer, Casey. I'm going to poll the audience. Let's say the deposits are due December 1st, what would you tell the wedding guests that are booking the rooms? What would you tell them that the deadline is? So like December 1st.
Good question.
What would you say? Keep in mind, what is it? Our lovely McCall Council keeps saying, it's people be people. Okay, so we have a few answers here. Let's see. November 15th. Let's see. Nikki says November 15th. Thelma says November 15th. Okay. October 31st. I love it.
Yeah.
It's due in July. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's and immediately non-refundable. No.
Yeah.
Lois, 11:15. Got it. Okay. So if it was December 1st, Casey, what would you do?
Honestly, I would say probably between November 1st and November 15th, somewhere in that time frame. Okay. Because you really have to give everyone time. And I can't tell you, not only time for your guests, but then depending on what the deadline was for, it may be that your clients need more time. Maybe they haven't decided and they still have some questions and you need to meet up with them and have another conversation. So as much time as possible without it being obnoxious. So I would say anytime between November 1st and the 15th.
Okay. Yeah. And see, and Callie right here. Hi, Callie. So as a guideline, what I would do, and I agree, is I would do November 1st, except if that's like randomly on like a Sunday or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then, or I would make it like October 30th, like Olenthea said, just because it's, when you put those dates at the beginning of the month, they don't realize sometimes, oh, it's the 2nd. Oh, it was due yesterday. But if you put it in like the end of October and it's now November, they're like, oh, wait, yes. And then here's another comment from Nikki. I pad it for my couple at least 1 week, and then together we pad it even more for their guests.
Yeah.
Love it. Yes. Because as Nicole Council says, people be peopling. Yeah. And I mean, like, okay, so how many, Casey, like, did people miss their deadlines even with it padded?
Yeah. Even with it being padded, people, I mean, they didn't miss it because we padded it. But there was even times where there was one where it was like, oh my gosh, like they've missed the deadline, but also we're getting close to the padded deadline. So I have to know right now. And then that's when you start having those conversations and you tell them, like, I need a decision by tomorrow at 5 p.m. or this isn't going to work. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And this is where your terms and conditions, like you mentioned, come in, right? Like the something I do for my group contracts is I say, hey, like when they sign with me as their advisor and planner, I say, hey, like I'm signing this contract with you and you give me the authority to like cancel someone's room to protect the group.
Yes.
To protect from the bride and groom having to pay for it. I had a group contract, I want to say like 2 years ago, where like this guy just fell off the face of the earth. Like the couple couldn't even get in contact with him. He ended up being okay, but like his phone was off and disconnected.
Wow.
And I was like, hey guys, like he paid a deposit, but he's going to miss his second payment deadline. And they didn't know what was going on. And so I canceled the room and never heard from this guy again until way after the wedding. And they're like, oh, he's fine. He just, you know, had a moment or something. But yeah, the terms and conditions. Now, Casey, in your terms and conditions, do you have anything like that? Do you have any terms that you put in there to protect yourself and the client?
Yeah, I did, you know, so we, I put stuff in there about how, you know, if it's not received by this date, then I have the right to cancel this contract. And also, depending on what part of the process we're in, that could mean that you are out the money that you've already paid, or it could be that you still have the ability to get your deposit and stuff back, but just depending on where we are. But, you know, the couple, when you kind of the benefit of a group contract is they get certain promotions and they get things for doing a group contract. And so if you're having someone who, you know, you need all of those rooms to go through, then that really can cause a problem if people aren't following through in the contract. So you got to stay on top of all of the deadlines, the payment schedules, the cancellation dates. And I put all of those dates on that website that the guests can go look at. I put it on my invoices and I put it in my emails when I'm responding back like to and from them. So they have seen it a million times. So there's nowhere that they can be like, oh, I had no idea. It's like, well, every time we talk, there's a little box at the bottom that says, don't forget.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think something people don't realize, like you just mentioned, is like specifically in Sandals group contracts, you make your own invoice. Like Sandals doesn't send them something that's pre-done and nice and pretty. It's, we have to do each one of those individually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was another thing was, you know, when I was setting up everything, you know, like I said, we had to set up invoices and you have to keep track of, you know, maybe you booked 5 rooms that's like a club level and 5 rooms that were butler level. So how many rooms of each of those do you have left and who are they being designated to? And then each time someone wants to reserve and pay that deposit, that's another communication with the groups department saying, here's my client's information. This is the room that they want. And then they would take that room out of that inventory, assign it to someone, and then give you the information about what their reservation number was. And then there's a separate link that they, there's a separate group thread with the payment link. And then I would go into that payment link, make their payment, and then put the invoice together with all of their information, reservation number, balance due, the cancellation policies again, the payment deadlines again, and keep all of that stuff updated for every single client.
Yeah. Okay. So that sounds brutal. Yeah. And it is like, we're not joking. It is brutal. Yeah. But okay. So let's lighten it up for a minute. Yeah. It's like you're a little superhero for your client.
Yeah.
Doing all these things that they don't understand that we have to do, like individually per person, actually make these things.
Yes.
So if you were a superhero for group contracts, what would be your superhero name?
Oh man. Yep. Okay, do you want me to say mine?
I think yours is going to be super cute. So let me see what we have from the audience. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you were a superhero for group contracts, what would your superhero name be?
I can't wait to see some of these answers. I'm looking at you, Nicole.
Yeah, I don't know why mine came out really depressing. It was like Sir cries a lot. It's
I
not a
love that.
superhero. It's more of like a knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir is on the phone a lot.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, so they're thinking about their superhero names. What is yours, Casey?
I said Count Chaos Spreadsheetula. Felt like I was always in spreadsheets and always in all of the documents organizing, and that is where I spent so much time. So
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's our lovely president loves it. Guys in the audience can't see her off screen, but she is laughing so hard right now.
That's great.
Yes. Yeah, you become like one with spreadsheets, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
more spreadsheets than you thought were possible and more formulas than you thought were possible.
And the amount of times you'd like go back, you're like, okay, they just made a payment, so I'm going to go update that, and then I'm going to update that in like the rooming list, and then all the numbers start like merging together, and it was like, why can I not think right now? Like I've had to redo this 5 times. Why am I not smart?
It's not that you're not smart. There's just so many numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, like back at what was it, like the last millennium or something, when I was in high school learning learning spreadsheets, they like didn't make a formula for that yet.
No.
Yeah. No. Okay, we have a few more here. Let's see. Nikki, the contractress. She sounds like she'd have a whip almost. I'm just saying.
Or like oh gosh, like in Wizard of Oz, like the little what do you call it?
Glinda?
Yes.
Yes. Let's see what else. Oh, okay. This one is really good. The deposit defender.
Ooh, love it.
That one's funny. Okay. Tiana, the contract couture queen. That's really hard to say.
I like that.
Yes. I like this one. That sounds like Glinda.
Yeah.
That one sounds like Glinda. Okay, and then we have Callie. Super Callie. Fragilicious. Fragilicious.
Yeah.
I like it. Callie.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, when I'm within all of those contracts, I feel very fragile. So I love that.
Okay, we're not talking about your mental state. No, just kidding.
Okay.
I mean, yes. At some point during your contract, you're going to have a fragile mental state, but it will be okay.
Yes, it will. It all works out.
Yeah. So all of these names are so painfully accurate.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. I think my favorite's the deposit defender.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love that.
But it's definitely a superhero. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a real life scenario that you had. Now, everyone pay attention. This is going to be another game. There's no prize. The prize is wisdom. The prize is learning how to do a group contract.
Yeah.
So everyone pay attention. Casey's going to give us a scenario, and then we're going to ask everyone to chime in and say what they would have done. And then we're going to hear what Casey did and break it down a little. And then we're all going to clap for her because she saved the day. Casey, okay, explain the moment when your group was at risk of dropping below the minimum amount of rooms and what was about to happen. Tell them how that was happening and how you handled it.
Okay. So we had a client who was planning to go. We actually had a few clients that we were thinking were going, and that was the plan all along. So we weren't really concerned about reaching that 10-room minimum. And then due to life and unforeseen things, some things came up. And so a couple of the people didn't end up booking at all. But we still were at our 10-room minimum, not a problem. And then the last day so we had padded the date, remember? And then she was still trying to work on a few things. And then it was like 2 weeks before the actual deadline. She was like, okay, I have decided that I can't go. Now at this point, everything was paid for. She had paid in full. And so it was non-refundable. So she was just giving up this room. But with her not going, that would have put us at 9 rooms, which then meant that at that 9 rooms, then all of our guests were going to be affected because they weren't going to get the group contract discount. And then my client was not going to be eligible for, in our promotion, it was every 6 rooms that you book, you get 1 free. So she had booked, we were past the 6, so they were eligible to get that base room price off of their total invoice. And so they would have lost that. They would have lost the contract rate. And we would have had to have redone everything because it would have not been a contract. So, yeah.
I'm gonna ask them to pretend they're you. So everyone pretend they're Casey for a second. Beautiful blonde Casey. So pretend you're Casey and put in the chat what you would have done. So I'm gonna recap a little bit. So you have a group contract. The minimum is 10 rooms. Those 10 rooms being the minimum, you would get a percentage off the top of every room. So what was your percent? Was it like 13?
11.
11%. Okay. So 11% was taken off every room. And because they had more than 6 rooms, let's say the cost of the last room was what, like a few $1,000s? The bride and groom got that as a credit. So if that room did not travel, even though it was already paid for, right? It's if there's not a person using that room, they don't count it. So they have to travel for the 10 rooms to count.
Yep.
Now, unforeseen circumstances, that 10 rooms is about to drop to 9. It's like, what is that? I don't know any sports analogies.
Yeah.
Halftime. Whatever
it's bad.
Yeah. It's bad. The sports analogy, whatever that is. It's the 11th hour. She's about to lose not only the promo credit of a few $1,000s, but also the discount on everyone's room. What would you do?
I like Callie's answer. Yeah.
For emotional support.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Callie said, call Nicole.
It's funny.
Tiana says, panicked, then cried, which is a healing response.
Yes.
Before you take action. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Reach out to the group to bring more people. Olympia, love it. Olympia's like, just sell more rooms, obviously.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. I would have, Tiana again, I would have called a friend to go and then switched the name on the reservation. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Last call for anyone who's going to pitch in their ideas. I see you, Nikki, Callie, Nicole. I see you in here. What would you have done? Lois? What would you have done? I'm calling you out now. Yeah, so heart-wrenching situation.
Yeah. Mostly because then you also have to remember, if that drops below, then now I have to go back to all the guests and tell them that their price is increasing, which is not a fun conversation. And then you risk more people not being able to go. Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lois, I guess I'm going on a trip. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Have the couple review their guest list and backup list and invite someone additional. See, that's a good point, because what some people don't understand with group contracts is that, like, yes, it's for the group, but hey, if they're about to lose something, like anyone off the street will do. They don't have to go to the wedding, just get your butt in the room and pay for it and you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Daphne, that happened to me and I cried, and crying is okay, guys. In contracts, you can cry. Okay.
Yes.
We're all deposit defenders. And we can cry before we, pull up our big girl pants and handle it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Casey, what did you do?
Okay. So first up, I panicked and called Nicole. So Callie wins that one. But then talking through it, what I realized is, yes, so you have to have the 10 rooms and you have to have 10 people utilizing the room. So I couldn't just say she was going and then, her not show up, because then that room sits empty and they have to have someone in that room. So what we ended up doing is we had two options, and I presented both options to the guest who was canceling and to the bride. And so essentially what the options were one, that the guest got to keep that room, and her daughter and her son-in-law were going on this to this wedding. So we could take the son-in-law's name off of the room that he was in with his wife and put it on this room. So now we have two rooms that are still filled with a guest, and they're both still going. And that keeps us at the 10 rooms, because she was not going to get any money back. So it wouldn't have mattered if that room sat empty or someone took that room. It was a free room because it had been paid and there was no money back. So we could do that. Or we could have put someone else who was going and had a second person on their room. We could have assigned that room to them. So for instance, my mother was going to help with our kids. And so we could have assigned that room to my mom. She didn't have to actually stay in that room, but it was available. We could have used it for the clients to put wedding decor in. They could have used it as a staging room. The guys could have gotten ready there. And essentially that's pretty much what they did. They utilized that room for everyone to get ready. And so we
had to check in though, right? She had to check into that room.
So when they got to the resort, the son-in-law checked in, he got the room key. And I called the resort, and I didn't call them. Sorry. I emailed the resort beforehand and just let them know he's traveling with his wife, but they're in separate rooms. And that's all I told them. And they were completely fine with that. They don't care. So we still got all of our 10 rooms. Everyone still got their discounts. We still got the group contract, and it all worked out. So
yeah. See,
sometimes it's just imagination.
Yeah. Superhero. Yeah. I mean, yeah. See, like that's kind of the trade-off with group contracts, right? It's that, yes, there's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
You also have like this, I wouldn't say infinite, but almost infinite power to do whatever you want. Like if you need to switch someone into a room, you switch them, you, if you need to like, and honestly, like you said, they don't care. There's a room, there's someone in it. The room's being used. Great. Who cares? Yes. Yeah. It's like I wonder why the wife and the husband doesn't matter. None of your business.
Which it did end up working out, because he actually, he was working during that trip. So he utilized that room, did all of his work calls, did his meetings that he needed to do. So it worked out great for him.
Yeah. He got an upgrade.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. You just built in a business center to this wedding.
Yes. Yeah. We did.
Yeah, and so this is why I like to say group contracts are a power move, and it's all about the control. Look, here's everyone cheering you on, Casey. Look how amazing you are. Yep.
Yay.
Casey's a literal superhero of group contracts. But so group contracts, it's about control. It's about being the master of this for your client.
Yeah.
And this is where you really like earn that commission. Yeah. So group contracts are scary, but they're a really easy sell for you guys to do and to sell to your client because of those reasons. So I wanted to take a step back. Now, in addition to all the control you get as the advisor, why should you kind of promote these to your clients? One, everyone gets discounted pricing off the top. Like in Casey's situation, it was 11% off the top.
Yeah.
And then the promo credits. And what did you say that was the promo credit again for the couple?
I think it was like $135.
Oh, not the bonus, like the free room that they would get.
Oh, so for every 6 rooms booked, then the base level room, which was around $2,500, they would get $2,500 of credit that they could use towards either like their wedding invoice or their room total.
And what did they end up using that for?
They ended up taking it off of their wedding invoice.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, so you get to do that, and then also kind of like what we were discussing before, you get to leverage the deadlines. So, if the deadline, let's say if you just got a room from Sandals, it's usually like you pay 60 days before, and then it's
Yeah.
refundable until 46-ish days before. But because of the restrictions and deadlines, guests buy in earlier. So like their deposit at some point is going to be non-refundable. So they'll have, 10% of their room that's non-refundable, which they are unlikely to cancel after that.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people who don't just like eject button bail out at the last minute, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, but hey, so because it becomes non-refundable sooner, you have a little bit more leverage on, hey, if you want this discount, and you can always book people outside of the group contract too.
Yeah.
Unofficially. Like if that client does not agree to those terms, like they're like, hey, there's no way that I can have this non-refundable that early. You can say, okay, well then you're going to forego the discount and book them normally, and that's up to them.
Yeah.
But with group contracts, not only do you get that, it's easy to sell to your clients, it's easy to sell to their guests because there's a discount. You also get to create these relationships with the groups department, the weddings department, all the resort managers, and that's like one of the most valuable parts of this process. So Casey, like, do you know the names of the people that you talk to every day in the groups department?
Oh yes, especially I know the names of the people I talk to, and then after attending the wedding, I mean, it feels like they're just part of my family at this point. Like we went through a lot together, and you really form those relationships and that communication, and yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of all that, you also got paid for it, right?
Yes. I definitely did.
Yeah. See, you got paid for it. And then not only do you get paid the commission, you still can add like a planning fee, like just like your normal wedding planner fee on top of that. If you're participating in the wedding planning, you can add your own admin or booking fee, whatever you like on top of that. So if you want more control over your groups, contracts are definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Now, we're all control freaks because we're wedding planners. And, we shouldn't forget that after the actual group contract, there's the wedding itself, like you were just mentioning. Like now they're part of your family. I think you mentioned, was it Chevelle?
Yes.
Yeah, like she could.
And Kamala.
Yeah. So after the group contract, you actually went with this group and coordinated the wedding. Of course, they're your family, so you went.
Yeah.
Now, be honest, what was harder, the wedding logistics or the group contract logistics, and why?
Well, so I would say that the group contract logistics were a little bit harder than the wedding logistics. Now, the caveat to that is do not plan a wedding right after a hurricane hits the island in which you are planning said wedding. So we had the lovely experience of having, the hurricane that hit Jamaica. Fortunately for my clients, they were at Negril and they were one of the least affected. They still had some things, but they were not hit as much as like South Coast and some of the other ones. So we did get very fortunate in that, but that hit like a month before and the resort opened the week before. So there was a little bit of stress that if that gets delayed, then we are in a whole different situation. But the hardest part of that was because the resort was just closed, there was no communication with the resort. So I couldn't email the resort and say, hey, the guests have decided they want to add candles to the tables. Like it was just kind of shut down for, a few weeks. So it's not always like that, which is great. And I look forward to not having that stress on the next one. But it kind of going back, it's not like when you book it on the portal and everything is just done. You have to have that back and forth communication. So that part was a lot harder than being on site and actually having the wedding.
Yeah. So, was there anything that caught you off guard? Was it more like emotional energy? Like, what would
Yeah.
you have done differently next time?
Oh gosh. Yeah. So I would try to figure out a way to set up some things where they're a little more automated.
Okay.
Maybe having like all of my auto reminders for deadlines and that kind of thing. I think the thing that kind of caught me off guard was some of the things we've kind of already talked about, like what happens if you fall below that like 10 rooms. And, there's things with, like split stays. If you have someone who's like, hey, I want to be in this room. And then after the wedding, I want to transfer to another resort and I'm going to stay there for like 3 or 4 more days. We had a couple people extend their stay and go over to Sandals after beaches. Those don't count as 2 rooms booked. That's still just one booking. And so it was like, we had 15 bookings, but we had 9 rooms, which ended up being the 10 because of the way that we did it. But just a lot of those little inside things that we didn't really know. The resort was always amazing to work with. They were so incredible. They were so kind. They were always willing to kind of help troubleshoot and problem solve. When that guest backed out, we couldn't refund anything from the wedding because all of that was already paid for also. So like that place setting, the food, all of that was already paid for. But the resort understood the situation. They allowed, instead of it, we would have still been in the same bracket for how much it cost the wedding. And so what they did is they ended up just taking that guest amount and they waived that fee for that one guest. So that way we didn't have to go up in bracket because of that additional person. So they really understood and they really try to do everything they can to make it as easy and painless as possible for the couple. And they understood the situation and they really did. They were great. So it's just a lot of things caught me off guard with the process. I don't get to just call them on the phone and say, add this. Thank you. Bye. It's a back and forth wait, like I'm going to email it. They're going to get it. They're going to confirm they can do that. Then they're going to email me back and say yes or no, or a follow-up question. So sometimes when you ask something, you just have to be prepared that you may not hear back for 24 to 48 hours. And then, so that was probably the biggest eye opener for me is we like that instant, let's get it done today. And it's not quite like that.
Yeah. I will attest to it. It's not a quick process.
No, it's not, which is another reason why you have to pad your deadlines so you have additional time for that communication with the resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's say that someone here today booked their first contract tomorrow. Give us one thing to do immediately, one mistake to avoid, and one mindset shift that really helped you.
First, call Nicole. No, I'm just kidding. You can do it, I promise. What I would say is reach out to your BDM. I feel like I probably could have utilized my BDM a little bit more, but because I haven't ever, we have a newer one, and I had never met him in person. And so it was like, I didn't feel as comfortable as I did talking to Nicole, but he was great about following up. Like, have you got this form submitted? Have you done this? And the resort will include him on the email. So that way he stays involved in the process and knows what's going on. So if you call him and ask him, he's going to have the answers, or he can get the answers for you pretty quick. I keep saying he, but it could also be a she. So I would say start with that, reach out, have that relationship with the BDM, and then also start working on some of the behind the scenes things. Like, your client's going to need some sort of landing page for their guests to go to get the information. So get on your website and start, setting that stuff up while you're waiting for everything to come through. Start working on putting together a template for your invoice, reach out to Nicole or I know Nikki does a lot. There's a lot of people in ABC that do a lot of destination weddings. And so reach out and ask them how they did it, because I would not have been able to do it without some of their insight and, how they set their stuff up. So I got really familiar with Google Docs, Google Sheets. And there are ways, even through like the test program, there's ways to send out auto invoices and stuff. I was choosing not to do that because, there is an upgraded fee with that. And I was like, well, it's okay. I can do it. It's not going to be that bad. Now I know it takes a lot of time. So if you can automate some of that stuff, that's great. And then let's see, a mistake to avoid. I think it just goes back to really those deadlines. Had that client, they were already almost past the padded deadline. And so had I not had that reminder pop up, there's a chance we could have lost that group contract. And like I said, it's not a quick thing to relay all the information to the resort. So while you're trying to brainstorm and figure out how to keep this group together, and then you're relaying that to the resort. And if it's like day of deadline, like there's a chance that that you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So
financially,
really making sure, like make a spreadsheet or make a, something on a piece of paper, put it next to your desk. So every day you're like, okay, I have a week before I have to start sending out these reminders, and just have constant eyesight on that. And then as far as like the question about, what I would kind of like my takeaway is everybody has a first time of doing anything. Everyone had their very first wedding they planned, and it felt probably like it was super overwhelming and, oh my gosh, am I going to mess up? And are they going to hate me? And am I going to do it right? You have all the things. And the truth is, yes, you could do awful and you could make mistakes, and it is all very possible. But if you surround yourself with the right people and you stay in contact and you have questions and you ask your BDM and you ask Nicole and you reach out to some people who have already done it, they're going to be there for your support. They're going to be there to answer all of your questions. They're going to help you out along the way. It was my first time. I didn't have all the answers. I had no idea what I was getting into, literally 0%. And we made it. Everyone survived. The wedding was great. So I think just really remembering that you don't have to have all the answers. Nobody has the answers when they do anything for the first time. So just surround yourself with the people that do, and they'll take care of you.
Yeah. And thank you so much for mentioning that, because it's like, we're part of ABC. ABC people don't let other ABC people fail.
No.
Like, we're a family. We really are. And if we can help each other, we absolutely will. So, thank you, Lois, her VP of membership.
Yes.
Yes. It's Casey can call me whenever she wants. And she did. Not gonna lie, she did.
I did. Sometimes I would call her and be like, I know you hate seeing my name on your phone again. She's like, no, I don't.
No. It's we're not going to let you fail.
Yeah.
You may fail anyways if you don't listen to us. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But it's we're a family. We support each other. Mm-hmm. And, we're not going to let you slip through the cracks as long as you ask.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, this is kind of a surprise because Casey also did something like really, really special and heartwarming after the wedding was over. So you did this really cool thing. You sent the resort a really heartfelt email. Now tell us about that email. What was in it? Why you sent it? And then did you get any response from it?
Yeah. So one thing Nicole had kind of mentioned, and I know a few other people, is, like, you're going to this resort. This is kind of like this is their home. This is where they work every day. This is what they do every single day. So putting myself in their shoes, it was, what would I want if I were on a resort and I were working weddings every single day and you have a planner come in, sometimes we can be a little bossy or we want things to go a certain way. So how do I make them feel like I respect what they do? So I brought them all a little gift to the resort. And it was just a little thing of chocolates and some popcorn. And I wrote everyone that I worked with throughout that process a thank you note. And I took that with me to the resort. The day after the wedding, I delivered all of those, thanked them, appreciated them for everything they had done for me and for my clients. Not everything went off without a hitch. There were things that happened, and they were right there to do everything they possibly could. And without them, I never would have survived. So it really is a team. And so then once I left, I wanted to make sure that, the people that they work for knew what they had done. And so I sent an email to the general manager, and I copied, I think, Wendy and Susan. And I also copied all of the individuals that worked on this wedding with me. And it was a pretty lengthy email, and just told them how thankful I was. And I broke it down to each individual person, like Kamla, this is what she did to make this wedding absolutely incredible and beautiful. And this is what our photographer did to make the clients feel so at ease and welcome, and like they hadn't just met her the day before. A lot of times as vendors, we get to work with these people or see them a few times before the wedding. My clients didn't get that. So being able to put them at ease and make them feel like they were special from the moment they stepped on the resort is a really, really cool experience to have. And I wanted to make sure that their bosses knew how amazing the people are that they have working for their brand. So I sent that email. And, I had a few people respond back and just say, thank you so much. We are so excited, and we can't wait for you to come back and be a part of, the next wedding. We look forward to it. And so it was really exciting to be a part of the process, from day one until, after travel. And, now I know when I go back, I'll be excited to see some of these same people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before we get to Q&A, I just want to touch on how important that is. So as members of ABC, our standard is excellence. We don't come in, we don't boss people around. We work as a team with people. And that's what gets specifically the people in ABC booking Sandals, doing anything like that. That's what gets us so far. It's we create a relationship. We respect people. We work as a team. And then every other wedding we have after that, we know who they are. We know they know how we work. They know we're going to respect them, and they're going to respect us. And I don't know how many times that's led to, oh, hey, yeah, sure. Go do that. I know it's technically you're not supposed to, but go ahead, do that. They'll go above and beyond, just like we go above and beyond and show our gratitude to these people. But, I think that shows that Casey not only survived, she raised the bar for everyone.
Yeah. And I know we've talked a lot about Sandals and beaches, mostly because that's what I booked. I'm sure other resorts are just as incredible, but Sandals and beaches just really has a special place in my heart, and for so many different reasons. But I would say if you're able to do a group contract and it's Sandals and beaches for the first time, you're set. You're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do spoil us. But with that, I want to say I am personally so proud of you, Casey, to see you grow as one of ABC's rising stars of travel and see how far you've come. I remember when we were back in the day when we were I hope one day I get a Sandals honeymoon booking.
Yeah.
Look at you now. Yeah. We've kind of seen each other grow, and that's amazing. So thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I'm going to open it up to everyone for questions. So, everyone grill Casey. No, just kidding. Nothing's off limits. Casey will answer extremely honestly.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a part of this live filming of ABC Weddings Unveiled. And I will open it up to questions.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we had a few, let's see. Okay. Oh, that was, if a trip is paid for, you find someone to replace the person, can they repay the traveler directly? So this was in the scenario about the 10th person kind of going out, can they repay the traveler directly? They absolutely could. Hopefully, they would. But I think at that point, right, it was kind of like do you even have the time to find that other person?
Yeah, we didn't have the time. It was either this group is going to fall out of contract, or we have to utilize someone already. We had like 2 days. And again, we have to communicate all of this with the resort, which takes a little time. We did talk about opening that up to someone who wasn't able to go because of the cost, but ultimately, they would still have to get like flights and everything. So it's just too long of a process. If you have enough time, then you could make that work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another one from Tiana. Is it normal to charge a planning fee to the couple since you're getting a commission from the resort? Casey, what did you do for this one?
So I still charged a planning fee, but all that to say, mine was drastically different because it was a family member. It was my brother-in-law. So I only charged, I think it was like $500, which is not what I would charge for someone normally. And having gone through the whole experience now, before I was always like, oh man, I can't imagine having to pay like a planning fee and then like travel, all of that stuff. But now I completely understand why. Like the amount of nights that I spent hours at my computer getting everything updated and sent out, and all of the work that went in it behind the scenes, like getting there was work, and like the day of the wedding is a little bit of work, but there's so much beforehand that I absolutely would charge a planning fee going forward for her clients. Yeah.
And to give another example, what I do with my clients that I don't know that aren't related to me, I charge a planning fee if I'm planning the wedding. And remember, with some properties, you can book the wedding and you absolutely can hand them off to the wedding planner and not be a part of that. So you don't have to plan the wedding. You can do the group contract and or the wedding or both.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm traveling to a wedding, in this case, since family, you were probably going anyway.
Yeah.
But if you were traveling, you could also charge a travel fee. I charge my guests a room within the block, and some people use P2P points, or they use miles or whatever. I personally don't, just so I don't get bumped. Like I'll be treated as another client, and plus that's a room for yourself.
Yeah.
And then they also pay my airfare because, hey, we don't work for free.
Yeah.
So just to give you some other ends of the spectrum, and then you can pretty much charge whatever you want in any combination of those things. Yeah. So Olympia has another great question. Was a beaches location involved? If yes, how was the day pass process? So I'll go ahead and field that one. Beaches was involved, and because everyone was staying at a Sandals or Beaches, right?
Yes.
There was no day pass needed. So, and you didn't have anyone stay off property, Casey?
No, everyone stayed on Beaches, and then we had 2 people stay at, or one guest stayed at Sandals Negril. So everyone was within the brand.
Yeah. So I think you would only need a day pass if someone stayed at like a different property outside of Sandals or Beaches.
Yes, and
these are different though.
Yeah, and that does get a little bit more difficult because then you have different rates and stuff for them for like the day pass, and then as a wedding guest, those kinds of things. So there's a little bit more to that, but
yeah. And then let's see here. Oh, another thing with day passes, there's a cap. So like only a certain number of people can do that. Also, if you have people staying in Negril between Beaches and Sandals, just keep in mind, like they don't get to take a taxi there for free. They have to pay for their own way to get in between the resort or make a short little 40-minute walk.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think we, in the interest of time, are going to close the Q&A here. Again, please, everyone, join me in thanking Casey for her time, congratulating her on her first Sandals group contract.
Thank you guys so much. And again, like I said, if anyone has any questions, you can call me anytime, reach out to me. I'm happy to share everything I know because I knew nothing before this. So I'm happy to spread the wealth.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Casey. I'm going to sign us out and we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.